everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am very happy because it's Pride Month and I have a lot of videos that I wanted to film and put out on my channel.
Get used to disappointment. Hey.
And today I thought it's going to be nice to focus on 𝕊𝕆𝕀𝔸𝕃. So 𝕊𝕆𝕀𝔸𝕃 is one of the biggest websites for queer women and non-binary voices. They cover news, they do dating advice, they recap TV shows and movies, and they bring me a lot of joy every Monday when I go into my podcast app and listen to them talk about the L word, which they are recapping right now. It's a lot of fun. The hosts are extremely intelligent and I love them. It's an amazing team. They are incredibly inclusive and they've been fighting a good fight against After Ellen, which is full of TERFs. I love them so much, and I recently discovered that they're also posting about books. And I thought it's going to be a good idea to take an article from their book section and to read all of the recommendations. I think I've seen a list that I vibe with. I don't remember how exactly it was titled, but it was something about being single. Here it is, I found it. Lesbian romance novels to read when you're perpetually single. I vibe with this title so much because I've been single for 4 years, I think, at this point. Anyway, this list is amazing because these are romance novels, and we stan romance novels on this channel because they make us happy. So the book that Christina suggests are At Her Feet by Rebekah Weatherspoon. I know that it's a light BDSM romance novel and I'm into it. Rebekah Weatherspoon is a top-notch romance author. I've read her book Treasure and I loved it. The second novel is by Chelsea and Cameron. I've read 2 of her books before. They were okay books, I like them. I Think Anyone But You is a hate to love and it is about a gym. The third book that Christine recommends is In Her Court by Tamsen Parker. So I quickly looked up Tamsen Parker and her books, and she had written a lot of MF romances, which makes me worry because it's not a good sign in my opinion, but we're going to give it a chance, especially because we have a butch on the cover and we love butches being represented in romances and in general. The fourth book is Proper English by KJ Charles. I've read one KJ Charles book before and I absolutely loved it, and I am excited to read an FF book from her. Also, it's historical romance and you know how much I love historical romance. And the fifth book is one I wanted to read for a long time. I wanted to read the original series first and then read this because it's a novella, but I think I'm going to just go with the novella. People were saying that you can read it without reading the whole series. So it's Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, a Reluctant Royals novella by Alyssa. I know that Alyssa has a separate FF romance, it's historical, and I really want to get my hands on that too. But first I think I'm going to read Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, because I need to read it for a video and I want to in general. So these are 5 books that are on the list of novels to read when you're perpetually single. We're going to see if these novels are going to make me comforted, I guess, because that's the point of this list. So let me tell you a little story. Yesterday, I couldn't sleep for a long time. I think it was 2 a.m. at that point, and I switched on the torch on my phone to go down and to drink some tea or eat some snacks and watch some TV because TV soothes me. And I saw a giant spider on my carpet. Keep in mind I don't live in Australia. It's not like this big, it's this big, but it's fat and leggy and hairy and terrible. In moments like this, you miss being partnered with someone that is much braver than you. Anyway, I acted fast, I killed it, and then I didn't want to go down anymore because I was afraid that spiders will attack me. And I wasn't wrong because in 15 minutes I decided to look at my floor again and I saw another spider and I had to kill it. So in the end I decided to not sleep at all and pick up a book, and I started reading At Her Feet by Rebekah Weatherspoon. I'm 50 pages in and they had sex a couple of times already. I mean, not that I minded. I think she writes very compelling smut. The problem is it has a very specific kink that I'm not into. The relationship Susie gets in is a mommy little girl relationship, which is like a regular DS dynamic but has some nurture play too, and the dominatrix is sort of like a mom figure. And I'm not going to lie, it does Weird Me Out. Hi. So I'm about 100 and something pages into At Her Feet by Rebekah Weatherspoon. I think I'm going to finish it today. Honestly, I've been struggling with this book. I love the parts that are not kink related. Otherwise, I just find this book to be pure smut. I don't think it offers a lot in terms of plot, which is fine. It was just not something I expected to get from this book. To be even more honest, my brain kind of checked out of the story when one of Susie's playdates, another submissive little girl, started humping and riding Susie's teddy bear. I'm not even lying, that's actually what happened, and Susie started screaming that she is sexually harassing her toy. I mean, you do you. For me, for lack of a better word, this comes off childish, which I suppose it should be because it is age regression play. Anyway, I'm going to finish this book out of respect for Rebekah Weatherspoon because I love Treasure, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love her other books. It's just this specific kink that doesn't work for me. Yesterday I went to get out a package and I thought it's going to be nice to pair it with an audiobook from this list, so I picked up Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa. And I'm right in the middle of it and I love it so much. It is hard to appeal to me with a second chance romance, but this book is so good. I am in awe. It helps that we show not only the present but also the past, how these characters met. It took me literally a chapter to get a crush on 𝕊𝕁𝕀𝔸𝕃 because she is a whole snack. She wears suits. I just love this couple and I'm rooting for them. There was not an on-page sex scene yet, but the sexual tension between the characters is off the charts. My plan for today is to finish with At Her Feet and to also probably finish Once Ghosted, Twice Shy because I do have some stuff to do around the house, so the audiobook is going to be very needed. More on the spider updates because I know you're invested. They're still out here in hordes. I've cleaned my room 2 times already and I do not understand why they're still coming into the house and what the fuck do they need from me. I sleep with one of my eyes open in the middle of the bed because I'm afraid to touch the walls, and I'm constantly on spider check, so that's fun. They're also so fucking fat. I don't know what to tell you. I need to find a solution for this. I think I'm going to go to the store and maybe sprinkle some lavender oil here because I read it helps. Anyway, until the next update. It's inhumanely hot right now here. I literally am on fire. We don't have an AC. I'm burning from inside out. I have book updates. I finished At Her Feet and I finished Once Ghosted, Twice Shy. One I loved, one I didn't. First we're going to talk about At Her Feet because I have more to complain about. So, they humped the bear again. And it's not something I can handle, clearly. The only thing that comes to mind, because I watch a lot of TikTok, is this trend, this song, that it goes not for you but for him. That's basically how I feel about this book. This book is going to be for someone, and it's not a badly written book. It's very smutty if you're looking for something smutty. I enjoyed the bits where Susan was working, because I don't see a lot of working in books usually, people being in offices, and in general having my job or something similar to my job, so that was exciting. I think I'm the only person that is excited about work versus sex in books. I mean, I love a good sex scene, but in this book I just couldn't enjoy it. There is an interesting plot twist by the end of the book, and I actually enjoyed it, weirdly enjoyed it, because it's about sexual harassment. I mean, I enjoyed it because it was something new among all the fucking. But otherwise, I just think this book is not for me. And so I still love Treasure by Rebekah Weatherspoon, and I'm glad that she's writing about black women, usually. This is just not the romance for me, and I'm going to look into her other stuff because she has a lot. Moving on to Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, which was actually perfect. I loved every second of it. I was listening to it on audio, and sometimes I'm not that synced up with audio and I'm not listening to very consciously. In these cases I usually just go read the book physically or my e-reader, and I actually really like this audiobook. I think the narrator was awesome. she was changing voices for both characters. It was so swoon-worthy, and the characters were trying to make it even though they both had a lot of stuff on their plates, which I love because it's super realistic. Usually with all the work and all the responsibilities that we have, we don't always have time for romance. And these characters were trying to fit in romance in their lives. I also enjoyed that despite it being a second chance romance, which is a hard sell for me, Alyssa Cole decided to go in their past and show how they met and their first dates, etc., and then show how they broke up and why they broke up. I just love that. I was very invested in this relationship. I picked up the next book, In Her Court by Tamsen Parker. It was the one that I was the least excited about because I've never heard about this author. She had written a lot of MF romances in the past, and I believe it's her only FF romance. But then I started reading this, and I'm so pumped. It's literally set in the best setting possible. It's an adult camp. I love summer camps. I have a lot of fantastic memories associated with summer camps, and it's basically a vacation for adults that has summer camp vibes. It's about a young woman named Willa who just graduated and wanted to go to these caves as a part of her geology program. But there was an earthquake and the entrance to the cavern collapsed. So now all her summer plans are ruined. She can go there, and she is basically moping around the house when her brother calls her and tells her that he was planning to be a tennis instructor in a vacation spot and he broke his leg, so the spot is empty and he's offering her to go in his stead. I know nothing about the love interest yet. I don't know what's going to happen next, but this hook already promises me so much. I hope this book is not going to disappoint because I've read very few camp books and I need more that I'm going to love. I already read Running with Lions and I loved it. If you have any other recommendations, please leave them in the comments because I want them. I genuinely want them. I'm looking at myself in the tiny screen near the camera and this hair truly makes me look so ugly. I need to dye it again. Before I go to my dentist, for the first time in 2 months, I want to give you some book updates because I have them. So as I said in the previous clip, I started reading In Her Court by Tamsen Parker, and I'm actually surprised that I genuinely really like it. I believed that Tamsen Parker might be straight because of the amount of MF romances she had written in the past, but this has some real specific queer language. For example, I'm not sure that straight people know what a baby dyke is, so I'm pleased with that. This book is pure fun so far. I loved some of the dialogue, kind of tempted to use some of the lines from this book on women, but we'll see, perhaps they will turn out a bit cheesy in real life. It's super fun so far. I'm reading the part where they organized a Ghostbusters laser tag, which sounds like a dream. I need to steal this one too for some of the birthdays. If you are into 80s fandoms, you're going to enjoy this book a lot, I think. I'm not that much into Star Wars or Ghostbusters. I'm a 90s kid, so some of it I know. I was just never part of the fandom, but I think people that are a bit older than me are going to enjoy this part so much. I'm left with about 40 pages of this book, and I don't know where the conflict is going to come in because it seems a bit late in the game at this point. We'll see. I think it's going to be about them not being able to keep this up because they actually live in different cities, or it's gonna be about Willow being Van's best friend's little sister, but I don't see it being this huge thing either way. In the meantime, I've listened to the audiobook of Anyone But You by Chelsea and Cameron. I struggle sometimes with the audiobooks. It really depends for me on the person who's reading the book. The production of this one was so good. I was very into the characters, even though they were a bit cliche, but what's not cliche in romance? You just choose the cliche that you like and you read about it. It's about Sutton, who's an owner of a yoga studio and who is concerned with her new upstairs neighbor. They're constantly listening to loud music and disturbing her clients, so one day she comes up and interrogates this person. It turns out to be Tuesday, the new owner of the building that wants to build a gym upstairs. First of all, I want to make a point that Tuesday is not a name, and why the fuck people are naming their kids Tuesday? White people, I swear. Anyway, it's a pretty regular dislike to love kind of relationship. They have a very petty argument and a very petty conflict, and then they get together because there's some tension between them and they hang out more, they kind of become friends, but they are kind of attracted to each other, so all the good parts. I think what this novel really nailed is this setting and making it a believable conflict, because who was not ever annoyed at their neighbor for blasting music? But also the sex in this felt very realistic. What I enjoyed is that they were communicating a lot. There was a lot of banter during sex and before sex, which felt very true to life. It's the first Chelsea and Cameron that I'm going to give 4 stars, because the other books just did not land where I wanted them to land. This one, you can say I really enjoyed. Highly recommend the audiobook too, it's on script. And we're finally done. I've read all the books, it took me much more time than I expected. Honestly, the last few weeks were just so lousy and terrible, I couldn't read or create. So at the end of the day, I don't have as many videos as I wanted to release during Pride Month, but I can't really do anything about it now, and I think we need to concentrate on the books that I've actually read. So let's go through the list and start with the ones that I did not talk about yet. I finished reading In Her Court by Tamsen Parker. I actually really enjoyed it. It was kind of an unexpected book for me because I've never heard about it before at all. And I'm surprised because it's very fluffy and cute and lovely, and I think it's very uplifting. The conflict was actually something I did not expect either. Even though the book was building up to it, I was just distracted, I guess, or I thought that other conflicts are more obvious. I just really like this book. I think Willow and Van have a good chemistry. I think the setting is very fun. I enjoyed them being in the same place at the same time and not needing to meet each other every time. It was a very lovely romance, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book and the last book on this list was Proper English by Katie Charles. I read Katie Charles before and loved her book. This one is FF and also historical romance, as I believe Katie Charles only writes historical romance. It's about a young woman named Pat who is trying to figure out what she's going to do with her life, because she really isn't interested in getting married, and she was living her whole life in her childhood house with her brothers and her father, and then her last remaining brother married, and it is kind of expected of her to leave the newlyweds the house. She also doesn't really want to be there with them because she wants them to have the privacy. She wants her sister-in-law to feel comfortable in the new house, to feel like the owner of the house. So she takes an invitation from an old friend of hers named Jimmy and arrives to his house for a shooting party, where she finds a lot of people she did not expect to find there, including Jimmy's new fiancée Femme, to whom she is very attracted to. It's a romance story with a bit of a mystery thrown in, which I actually really enjoyed. I hope the crime element is going to come up a bit earlier in the book, otherwise it felt a little bit like it was thought up a bit later. But overall, I really like this book. It managed to not fall into the tropes of convenient tropes and expected tropes. For example, it's very common for FF romances on screen and in books to feature a woman that falls for a married or partnered woman. I think we overall are a bit tired of that, and even though the premise of this is kind of like that, it doesn't go the same route, which I really loved. It's very easy to win me over with a historical romance, so I found this whole novel to be a delight. The only thing that I want to comment on, which is applicable to every KJ Charles book that I've read so far, the way she describes genitalia is really annoying to me and cringy. I just feel like we're past the euphemisms in 2020, even when it comes to historical fiction and historical romance. I give this book 4 stars. It was a very solid read. I found it very enjoyable, and I'm going to check out more books by KJ Charles for sure. So let's wrap up the other books that I've talked about so far. I gave these 2 books 4 stars each. I gave At Her Fit 2 stars, sadly, because it wasn't my cup of tea, although I don't think that this book is necessarily badly written. Next book, Once Ghosted Twice Shy, got a whopping 5-star rating from me because I loved it. I for sure loved it the most from this list. I think it was very well done, especially being short form. And the 3rd book that we've talked about before was Anyone But You by Chelsea and Cameron, which I also really enjoyed, and this one was also very unexpected because I've read Chelsea and Cameron before and neither of her books really wowed me. They were good books, but something just didn't click with me. As I've talked in this video previously, all romances are cliche. We're just choosing cliches that we like. So for the most part, the way Chelsea and Cameron writes never worked for me in the past. This one, I think, just aligned with my interests more. So these are the books that I read. I enjoyed relying on someone else telling me what to read because some of the books that I've read turned out to be unexpectedly good. I will probably do something like this in the future. If you read any of these books and you have something to say about them, leave your comments down below. If you read any good articles with book lists, also leave them in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was enjoyable and fun, and I'll see you soon with another one, but until then,